What's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. And wow, we have had some crazy action here in the cryptocurrency market, of course, with some crazy news to come along with it. So we'll dive into all of that today. Now, before we get started, this video is sponsored by Unstoppable Domains, who today is announcing that they have teamed up with Brave Browser to reinvent the way we use the web. As you guys know, we have talked about unstoppable domains and .crypto domains on this channel for almost a year now. And officially, you can now use .crypto domains as websites over in Brave browser. So you don't have to have any special plugins to do it. You can now access .crypto addresses within Brave browser. I know this is a big announcement for them. Brave, unstoppable domains. You can now browse decentralized .crypto websites on Brave browser via desktop and Android. Join the movement towards building a user-controlled internet where privacy matters. I know for certain this is big news too. Of course, it's even being shared over here on CoinDesk. Browsers are the access points for decentralized websites, but there are no decent-sized websites without browser support. And with Brave browser now supporting .crypto addresses, it's revolutionizing the way we can build our own websites. It was announced over here on their website today, reinventing the web with Brave browser and unstoppable domains. Today, we're proud to announce that we've joined forces with Brave to introduce native support for .crypto blockchain domains on Brave's browser via Android and on desktop through a simple one-click DOH configuration. This will allow over 30 million monthly Brave users to seamlessly access the decentralized web, bringing us one step closer to the next generation of internet, one where privacy matters and users take back control. Remember that word privacy. I'll get to that again later in this video. But congratulations to them. I know this is a big step forward for .crypto domains. We've always talked about them on this channel for the simplicity of using them like I do, where I just have a bunch of my different crypto addresses tied to my domain. So if you send, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, XRP to bcbacker.crypto, it gets automatically forwarded to my wallet, so I don't have to give out my long string addresses to anybody. But, one of the things a lot of people don't know is that, you can build your own decentralized website where you're not paying monthly hosting fees, where you're not having to renew your domain. You actually can build your own website. And of course, all the Chrome extensions and Internet Explorers have made it difficult, but now we finally have huge integration with a major browser, and that is Brave. And you, of course, can check out Unstoppable Domains by visiting the affiliate link in the description of this video. But let's go ahead and dive into the market because it's blatantly obvious we had some craziness happen in the markets last night. As I'm sure you have heard by now, and maybe you haven't, but last night Elon Musk posted over here on Twitter Tesla and Bitcoin. Tesla has suspended vehicle purchases using Bitcoin. We are concerned about rapidly increasing use of fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining and transactions, especially coal, which has the worst emissions of any fuel. Cryptocurrency is a good idea on many levels, and we believe it has a promising future, but this cannot come at great cost to the environment. Tesla will not be selling any Bitcoin, and we intend to use it for transactions as soon as mining transitions to more sustainable energy. We are also looking at other cryptocurrencies that use less than 1% of Bitcoin's energy per transaction. This, of course, sent Bitcoin maximalists over the cliff in regards to its posting on Twitter and just spamming everything they possibly can to try to fight back against all of this. They're doing everything they possibly can to try to recover the price. Michael Saylor announcing that they've bought Bitcoins this morning. Of course, this Bitcoin purchase was made a while ago because the average price was $55,000 per Bitcoin, which means those purchases were made up in here prior to the announcement happening. But we're watching them try to market it in here, right? Breaking. Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy just announced that they bought 15 million more in Bitcoin. Michael Saylor not only has strong hands, but he knows to buy the dip. But as we saw from his announcement that he bought it back here, he's just announcing it down here in the dip. But, they're making their marketing runs this morning going on CNBC, CNN International, trying to find a way to recover this narrative that Bitcoin is energy inefficient. In this interview this morning over here on CNBC, Anthony Pompliano claims that Elon Musk is pulling off the greatest marketing ploy ever and that he's actually going to be releasing some type of energy efficient miner. And of course, he's coming after everybody else saying, chill, Elon's not going to buy your altcoin, right? But anyway, as the Bitcoin maximalists are scrambling for this, and first of all, if you're watching this and you're thinking, oh my gosh, he's attacking Bitcoin, look, I'm pointing out the reality of everything here. I'm not here to spin a specific narrative of what's happening. Elon Musk has come out and stated that Bitcoin is energy inefficient and it burns a lot of coal. And we're watching the same typical marketing personalities for Bitcoin come out and just grasp at straws to try to combat this narrative. Now, one thing is, Anthony Pompliano did say this is a marketing ploy by Elon Musk and he's going to be releasing a more efficient miner. Now, is that speculation? Does he know more than we know? I don't know. But if you use that context and you read Brad Garlinghouse's tweet right in here that he posted last night and you think of it in that light, well, he's kind of released a broad tweet here, right? Let's not overthink this. Few people have changed the world the way Elon Musk has. No doubt that Bitcoin is here to stay, but denying there is a problem isn't a path to solving it. Whether it's through renewables or architectural changes, let's keep moving on the solution. So, of course, even like me, when you see that post by Elon Musk and he's saying, we are also looking at other cryptocurrencies that use less than 1% of Bitcoin's energy per transaction. Well, I jumped to thinking XRP right away too, right? But hey, what if we read it from a different context and a different mindset of, is Elon Musk actually going to be providing some type of solution? And is Brad Garlinghouse hinting at that? The one thing we do know is that for the last several weeks, months, suddenly Ripple started going on a marketing blitz, going on all these media channels and really promoting this green energy, climate change stuff, right? Think about that. It's not by chance, right? They've been suddenly coming out of the woodwork and deciding that they're going to go on this marketing blitz, really promoting Ripple and promoting XRP as being energy efficient and being green and not being harmful for the environment. Then now Elon Musk pushes that same message to the masses, right? But how do you read this? Which context are you reading at? This is a broad thing. It's pretty typical of what we get out of Ripple is these kind of broad things that let's not overthink this. Okay, well, can you be clear for me, please? But it's not clear. Few people have changed the world the way Elon Musk has. No doubt that Bitcoin is here to stay, but denying there is a problem isn't a path to solving it. Whether it's through renewables or architectural changes, let's keep moving on the solution. So is the solution going to be renewables, architectural changes in regards to how the mining is done, or are we looking more at moving to another asset like he's talking about with less than 1% of the energy consumption of Bitcoin? So it's a really wild moment. We're less than 24 hours after this has all happened. Of course, it sent Bitcoin into a tumble at that time period, but it's really interesting if we take a peek at time and how time played out for all of this with Bitcoin, is that this entire time period was used to lure in retail investors, right? Why were they all buying up in these price levels, right? Well, because Elon Musk announced it right here. So we have a big distribution phase going on right in here. You can just clearly see the distribution right in here by for all of those people who have their little heads and shoulders, right? I mean, you've got your distribution that's happening up in here in Bitcoin, but the whole narrative the whole time is Elon Musk, right? Then as the shoulder closes, as the 702 Fibonacci retracement level gets hit that we've been talking about this week, going in to close off the shoulder, you get the news released at just the time you're supposed to have the news released at. So something doesn't add up with all of it, right? Especially the timing of how all of this played out and the assumptions you have to make to believe that Elon Musk didn't know all of this before going into it. That Tesla put $1.5 billion worth of money into Bitcoin without knowing any of this. So something's at play for sure. The timing of everything and the way it's occurred is suspicious for sure. But what's the end game here? That's the thing everybody's trying to kind of figure out. But one thing we have noticed is that Ripple has been on this type of marketing blitz for the last month and a half, really pushing this green energy efficiency messaging. And then there you have it, right? So I'm not entirely convinced that this is a head and shoulders, but I can't deny the potential that it is one. In particular, I really look for more of an ABC structure that would come out of here, which we don't have, right? This is more of just kind of a continuation. Let's see if there's even some type of divergence that has happened in here, which there is at this point. You can see we did not have a deeper relative strength index than this one, but we do have a lower low. So we'll see how this recovery kind of plays out. Does it kind of shift over here and then drop over one more time? And are we going to be stuck in a range. And it's very possible here that Bitcoin is just stuck in a range until way later in the year. We know that the prices of Bitcoin are incredibly high right now. I know that new people to the market don't want to hear that the prices are very high, but from a technical standpoint, they are very high. It has nearly reached out to a full Fibonacci extension at this point, but we can see that it has not reached out all the way yet. And the good news is the longer Bitcoin stays in this range, the more likely it is that it's still going to continue moving to the upside. So it's an interesting moment for sure. If it's a topping pattern, it looks incredibly different from anything we've ever seen before. In regards to this crash not coming down very deep, retracing 702, very common, but not a typical type of retracement that we've seen. Typically, we'll see ABC patterns. So it's going to need some time to digest to see what's going on with Bitcoin and is there really any more to it. Of course, at the exact same time, the rest of the cryptocurrency market took a really hard hit at the exact same time. However, some not as hard as others. XRP actually held itself pretty well during that time, and well, where did it get to? It got to that $1.20 price point that we've been talking about for several weeks. Whether or not that was good enough, I don't know. The one thing I do see on here is if we just throw on some moving averages, boom, a perfect hit over there on the 50-day moving average. So still more consolidation is likely until it just blasts its way out of there. One asset that is performing well through all of this is Cardano, and I'm really not surprised. It was one that recently broke out into all-time highs with its first weekly candle close to happen above here. We could see if we put it like that, you can see the weekly candle closed up here. Look where that back test came down to during that moment in time. Always look for that for other things throughout the cryptocurrency market. And a lot of times people be like, hey, let's just talk about XRP. Let's talk about XRP. But it's when we look to other things in the market, was that bottom good enough? Do we see signs of it in other places in the market that tell us, you know what, that might have been it? And you can see that sell-off that happened right there with Cardano took it right back to the all-time high for a back test and then breaks out into new highs once again. XRP constantly talking about $1.16 to $1.20. That sell-off brings you down to $1.20. So as for me, looking for things to whether or not I need to be panicking and running around with like a chicken with my head cut off thinking that the market's crashing, there's other things that I need to see happening in this market that I'm just not seeing happening for me to be like panicked and fearful yet. One is that Bitcoin didn't reach out to the full extension of a Fibonacci. It didn't get out to that $72,000 price level. Maybe it's never going to. Maybe the top is already in. Coinbase IPO'd knowing exactly what they were doing on top. IPO day, boom, they nailed it, got the best price they could for their stock. But this whole structure right in here just still looks like ranging to me. Not surprised to see a pullback happen after the 702 Fibonacci retracement, but there were big aspects of this market that were missing in order to say, this is it, that's the end of the bull run, it's all over. And it's when it comes to looking at other altcoins that haven't gone yet. In every single cryptocurrency bull run, XRP has gone on an alt season. As a matter of fact, the whole market goes on an alt season. Yet there's only been certain sectors of the market that have really taken off and set these big new highs, like Ethereum, right? But Cardano is giving this sign over here as well, this breaking out into this new all-time high, back testing this all-time high. These aren't the things you do when you're going into a complete crashing market for everything. Now, you could be seeing a complete rotation out of things like Ethereum into Cardano. If there is going to be this narrative now associated with, proof of work and mining costs and all that good stuff, well, hey, there's your perfect swap right there for Ethereum, with Cardano taking over it with a proof of stake model. But when I think of this new bull run that's coming and the marketing messaging that I've seen the grooming of retail investors happen here, right? And it's pretty blatantly obvious at this point. Up until this last, yesterday, right? Think about the things that Kevin O'Leary has gone on in CNBC and said. Right? What messaging is CNBC trying to program their audience with their commentators? They're grooming people to think about this energy efficiency thing and to groom them to think about where's the Bitcoin coming from. Kevin O'Leary keeps talking about blood Bitcoin or blood coin and saying, I don't want China blood coin. It needs to be made in America. It needs to be clean, energy efficient Bitcoin. If you go check for Kevin O'Leary interviews where he's talking about Bitcoin, it's really that's his job to talk talk about is this energy efficient, not blood coin Bitcoin. You see Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple going on television everywhere talking about energy efficiency. Now we've got Tesla coming out talking about energy efficiency. We've seen different aspects of this market already start to take off, but we have other aspects of it that haven't. And I think of two primary sectors of this market that haven't taken off yet. And it's going to be really focusing on that energy efficiency. What coins, what cryptocurrencies really focus on that energy efficiency? Because it's blatantly obvious that the media marketing is trying to program us that that's important. And another one that I don't talk about very often, but it's another elephant in the room, is privacy. We don't live our lives currently where every transaction that we do is public knowledge to anybody who wants to figure out about it. We don't live our lives like that right now. We don't want to live our lives like that right now. And I see, like, we've had the DeFi run up, we've had NFTs, we've had all these different segments go. But when I think about two new segments and two different marketing messages and run ups on certain things that could happen, it's going to be this whole what's the energy efficiency stuff and what's the privacy stuff. And so while we look at Bitcoin here getting up into these high prices and these ranges and not quite reaching out to it, but it did just 702, it's pretty complicated right now. But the things we haven't seen happen are certain coins take off at certain times within the market cycle, and that's absolutely going to include XRP. So I can't put my stamp on it on anything that, hey, you know what, this is the end of the world just yet. I don't think it is, because we haven't seen aspects of this market run, and we can clearly see where the mainstream media narrative is now going. It's going to this energy efficiency. They've been programming us for months now. That was the big slap in the face with the Elon Musk tweet, with Kevin O'Leary constantly talking about it, with Ripple going on television and doing their marketing run about it, and then now Elon Musk. This isn't out of the surprise. This has been groomed into us for about a month and a half now, and that was the big slap. But when we take a look over here at Bitcoin, right? So let's just talk about everything that happened, because people do get sucked into these narratives really hard. Is that when Tesla announced that they were going to be buying Bitcoin, I was not fazed by it at all. I sold my Bitcoin into that news. What happened here with this announcement that they're not going to be accepting Bitcoin? I mean, really, think about what just happened. We had our 702 Fibonacci retracement for our first wave down, second wave up, and then we go back into another wave. And when did they do it? They do it when we have a confirmation that the trend has changed, and then comes out and announces it right into it. Think about the things that happen there. Now, retail investors are getting scared at the bottom of a range. Again, FOMO them in at the top of a range, scare them to death at the bottom of a range after a technical move has occurred. That is not by accident. I don't care. And this is that stuff that I talk about. You have to be borderline nuts, right? You have to believe that that was just a mere coincidence that that occurred the way it did, that it could take a whole month for that to happen. Here we are on April 14th. It takes all the way to May after a crash, retrace crash, that you end up getting it right here. You get it right there after that 702. Or you have to believe we live in a simulation, right? It's too many coincidences that can happen at the same time. And then also us all getting groomed for the last month about energy efficiency, and then the narrative coming out and everything. And right now, what happens at the bottom of the range? Be scared of Bitcoin. So it's complicated because it's absolutely ranging still. It's not an ABC correction to the upside. If anything, still at this exact point, this is just an ABC correction to the downside, in which you've got a normal A, B, C. And in a zigzag correction, a zigzag would take you down of equal length, which also happens to be the top over here. And Bitcoin hasn't reached out to a full 4.236 Fibonacci extension at $72,000. So it is absolutely complicated right here. And we have perfectly timed news narratives for people to be scared at a bottom, along with a lot of the other cryptocurrencies, most cryptocurrencies not reaching out to their bull run potential. So not completely convinced that this is all said and done just yet, especially when so many cryptocurrencies have recouped yesterday's losses, and like Cardano, going on to continue setting new all-time highs. And for me, I'll be keeping my eye over here on Bitcoin to see what happens with this price action, if it does go down deeper. And really the main thing I'm looking for is if Bitcoin has already hit its high and it's completely done and it has to go down deeper, And then we really start to see the altcoins start to set up into new all-time highs, and we really see that stuff start to grind up as Bitcoin's in a retrace. That's when I would probably say, you know what, with confirmation, yeah, that was definitely the top. But we're still missing that major aspect of this bull run, which we've seen in each of the previous bull runs, in which alt season happens, crazy stuff happens into the retracement. We have seen that with a couple of altcoins. However, we haven't seen that with the majority of them. So from a perspective of determining is the top of Bitcoin in, this doesn't seem likely to me to be the actual mark of confirming it's all said and done and it's completely over. I think we would actually still have more consolidating sideways, more evidence of altcoins finishing up an alt season. And if we did get something like that, yep. But if you noticed in the beginning of this week, I was real nervous, real uneasy, real cautious all week, right? I'm feeling better now, right? When I can feel these things that are coming, it's really uncomfortable. I don't like it. I don't like being in the position where we're sitting there like we were right in here, and we've gone back and hit the 702 when we haven't gotten away from it, right? We get rejected from it, and we're sitting here, and it's like, hey, you know what? This is uncomfortable of what has occurred right here. Yes, there's your confirmation. It wasn't able to get through. It went and it set a new low, and it's still continuing to range. And it just depends on where everybody's invested within the market, right? For me, I view this as great. This is optimistic for me for the altcoins because it tells me, hey, you know what? It seems more likely the altcoin season is going to continue rampaging. If anything, Bitcoin's got a ton of just sideways, boring consolidation to do, and still don't know if it's going to go up any higher. Beyond the high that it set back there in mid-April when Coinbase IPO'd. But either way, this ranging and taking longer, that's good for the altcoin market. Because what happens with all that money that is over there in Bitcoin, that $1 trillion that is sitting over there in Bitcoin, it's just not interesting anymore, right? Bitcoin has now gone sideways so long, like we were just talking about in yesterday's video, how people in XRP are getting bored chasing all those pump and dump coins. What's going to happen with all these Bitcoin laser eye people, right? This narrative has now changed. Price action has now been sideways for 3 months, and the narrative is not pretty for Bitcoin anymore. So what happens with all that money that's in there? These people aren't just going to run away from cryptocurrencies. They still see green lines happening everywhere. They want to be involved in crypto. They watched what happened with Doge. They're hooked. And I think we still have a lot of action that's still going to take place in the rest of this market. So time will tell. But I think from a shorter term perspective and looking at Bitcoin and the move that just occurred right there with the rejection at the 702, if Bitcoin is to go set new all time highs, I think there's a lot of ranging that's going to happen in here and a lot of boredom that's going to take place for people who are focused on Bitcoin at this point. I think you have just confirmed significantly longer ranging in a best case scenario for Bitcoin. And for those who are heavily invested in Bitcoin and maybe you're new to this market and you're coming in here thinking, you know what, this blockchain backer guy, he's nothing but a fudster for Bitcoin. I can understand why you would think that because that's kind of been the messaging coming out of me for about 3 months at this point. But what you don't know is that I've been in this market this whole time, and I was a bull on the market during all of this, all this crazy stuff down here. Bitcoin's at 6,000. In this moment, right in here, was one of the scarier times in the market back in September and October of 2020. A lot of people believed that this market was going to be repeating itself and that it was going to be breaking down significantly lower here, and that we were going to repeat this whole thing all over again, and Bitcoin would go back to 6 grand again. I didn't believe that to be the case. I totally believed Bitcoin was going to break out, bull on Bitcoin, bull on Bitcoin, bull on Bitcoin, bull on Bitcoin, all the way up into here. But this has been a significant price level for Bitcoin to get through up in here. And that's why I just continue to express my concerns. And that's just because I've been honest and transparent on what my thought process is through the whole thing. I thought we'd get up to this price level. I thought we'd have big major problems up here at this price level. So it's not me coming in here just to do on Bitcoin. It really just is a super concerning price level for me for Bitcoin. And I'm going to continue to keep that messaging. So I do cheer for Bitcoin. I know a lot of people want it to go to $300,000. Believe me, I still own 35% of my Bitcoin. I would love for Bitcoin to go to $300,000. That would be absolutely awesome. But just because I want it doesn't mean I'm going to change the way I do things. I just go based on what the charts are telling me. And the charts present a lot of obstacles and concerns for me with Bitcoin, even though I still own 35% of my Bitcoin, and I would love for it to go to 300,000. I just don't see that as being super probable. But as for the aspects of the market that are still lagging behind, and based on what we've seen in previous market cycles, is that there still is opportunities left in this market for a lot of these altcoins to still go significantly higher. And that's what's got me optimistic in this market, is that that's what we've been seeing happening, right? So a lot of people thought I was fudstering on Bitcoin when I was selling it between 45 to 58,000 and rotating into the altcoin market. We've watched what has happened. Bitcoin has completely stalled at this price level, and the altcoin market has taken off, and the Bitcoin dominance has completely crumbled. I still think we have more left in this altcoin market, as Bitcoin is just sideways boring. And I'm not saying I'm going to be 100% right. I don't know. It's just my best educated guess. But so far, that best educated guess has been correct, and I did receive a lot of criticism for it at the beginning. This whole week, I've received a lot of criticism for showing concerns. But I look to the market, I see how it's behaved in the past. We're still behaving very similar to what we've done in the past, and there still are a lot of major altcoins that have not gone on these massive rampages yet, like we have seen happen with Bitcoin and we have seen happen with Ethereum already. So that's optimistic to me, and I'm still going to stick with that and not deviate from that at this point. And if our total altcoin market cap is to go on to do a full 4.236 Fibonacci extension, it would tell us that there still is more room to the upside. And right back in here in this time period, February, is when Bitcoin did have that big stop and where Tesla made that announcement. And we know that Bitcoin has sat here and just done this kind of thing, currently sitting right here, as this altcoin market has continued to keep going. And I'm going to bet, I'm going to guess and do my personal investments, which I'm not a financial advisor and this is not investment advice, but for me, I'm still holding on them to at least see what the market does as we get up higher, if it does get offered. So there you go. This is another really long video. I don't know how it ends up happening that these videos can get so long sometimes, but there we go. Crazy day in the markets, especially with all that Elon stuff. And I know it's a lot to digest in a very short amount of time as we wait for more information to get presented on the charts. Because right now we're only like, I don't know, 18 hours after Elon has made this crazy thing happen. But of course, like I tried to show here in this video, that technically we were setting up for that to happen at the same time. So was that an intentional timed event to occur after a month and a half of media grooming? We'll see how the coming days kind of play out. So I hope that you guys are all keeping your heads on nice and level and calm today, as it is a wild 24-hour period. But otherwise, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you'd like, you can check out my website over here, bcbacker.com. This is my course where I deep dive into the previous Bitcoin bull runs, the different altcoin market cycles, tying them all together. I talk about how to set up your own charts and indicators in TradingView. I talk about rebalancing, percentages, all kinds of educational content with mathematics and everything. I talk about my personal exit plans, updates that I've put in here recently that are available to people already enrolled in the course, and anybody who does enroll in the course. You could check this out over here on bcbacker.com. You can check out Unstoppable Domains by visiting the affiliate link in the description of this video, which they did announce that .crypto domains are now compatible with Brave browser. You could follow me over here on Twitter at bcbacker. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching my channel. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor, but if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.